Welcome, Kristen Pataki from Arculus.
Thank you so
It's
much.
great to have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Kristen, tell us about what you're up to.
Sure. So I work at Arculus. I started actually at our parent company called CompoSecure in the R&D department, but I've kind of transitioned over to Arculus. So our parent company, we manufacture metal payment cards. So we make American Express, Chase, Capital One, Crypto.com. We're a big manufacturer of metal payment cards. That's our bread and butter.
Really?
And then Arculus, we launched a couple years ago. It's our consumer product. It's a metal card crypto cold storage wallet.
Okay.
So what's really important is that your private keys are generated and stored in the secure element on the card, keeps them offline and safe so there's no concern that they're going to be compromised. And then what we're talking about with a lot of people here is that we can do a B2B application where we combine a payment card that can also be your cold storage wallet, and it can also do authentication. So instead of doing a one-time password, which can be more insecure, you can use a hardware token to authenticate into apps or to authenticate larger transactions and different things like that to try to keep users safe.
Now, I love that concept, but I feel familiar with some of it. For folks that are not as familiar with the problem that exists that this solves, can you articulate that problem that exists in the market?
Definitely, yes. So in crypto specifically, there's custodial wallets and non-custodial wallets. So custodial wallets are where basically the platform is in control of the keys. So very simple to use, but at the end of the day, things happen, and if the company goes under or something is to go wrong, at the end of the day, you're not the one that's in control of your keys.
Yeah.
Then there's non-custodial wallets, or a hot wallet maybe, where you are the custodian of your keys, but those keys are stored in the secure element on your phone. So there's still some concern there that if something goes wrong with your phone, someone hacks into your phone, there's concern that if you lose those keys, basically you lose all your crypto. So what we do with Arculus is we take those keys and keep them on a piece of hardware. So they're encrypted, you generate them when you get the card, you set it up, and you hold them from the moment you set it up until you delete them or you make a new one. You are always the one in control of your keys. So we think it's really important to, one, raise awareness about that, and also help people to make it a really easy, seamless experience.
Yeah. Well, the experience thing is so key. One could argue that the experience in the broader market has caused some relatively slow adoption, I think, for some. So on the consumer side, this sounds very reassuring. What are the opportunities on the corporate side to leverage this technology with your offering?
Yeah, I would say, so there's something that it's really exciting that we're working on, and I think we just announced some news about it recently. So we're working on basically a way where you can use your crypto cold storage, and you can also use that same card paying essentially from your wallet at a payment terminal. So you would work with an intermediary BIN sponsor that would kind of handle the back end of it, but what's really cool is that you're taking, for example, a stable coin. So mine is set up with USDC on Polygon, and go to Starbucks and buy your coffee, and it's taking it out of the smart contract that you're approving. I'm good with spending this amount, and then you go pay with it, and it subtracts that from the smart contract. So it's super, super cool, very exciting stuff.
Are there any particular industries that you think that this is opportunistic?
I think the general public finds it very interesting, like the crypto enthusiasts that are like, maybe I have this pool of crypto that's I don't touch, and then they have, your spend, and being able to spend from your crypto and having it in a stable coin, and just being a little bit more in control of it than if it were all in fiat. I think people find it really interesting. I think also maybe like corporate cards is a really interesting application.
Yeah.
Kind of, you can have a pool of reserve that is, per department, it could be per person. So there's a lot of things you could do with it and, adapt it to however you need it for your business, right?
So we did some work speaking to many members of the credit union industry recently. And something I had no idea about is that in many credit unions across the United States, what these group of credit union executives communicated to us was their membership is very much in the sunset age of their lives, that have the most deposits in their credit unions. the younger generations that may inherit this wealth, with this big wealth transfer that they see happening, that in some ways could be apocalyptic to many credit unions that are over-indexed on older members who are going to transfer wealth to a younger generation that doesn't necessarily have this longitudinal experience with the incredible service that credit unions feel very proud of what they give. That incredible experience, it's local, it's about the community, or what have you. Everything about their charter as a credit union and why people would be involved. Well, when there's a transfer of wealth to perhaps a younger generation that has different financial interests, needs, consumption and use of crypto or other things, they're looking for new offerings. So when looking about Web3 specifically, they're like, how do we keep the money in the credit union by having more sophisticated offerings that appeal to a broader audience than perhaps their existing demographic? How would you think about using this as a use case for those types of companies? So if credit unions came to you and said, hey, could this be an exciting offer for us? How does it instill confidence and opportunity for membership? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would probably say that, I mean, inheritance is something that we get asked about a lot because, we make a really secure, rock solid solution, and then people are like, okay, well, if I, want to pass this on to someone else, how does that work? Right, because they don't have my biometric, they don't have my PIN code. How does that work? So, at the end of the day, with our crypto wallet solution, you get a 12 or 24 word mnemonic phrase, and at the end of the day, those are your keys. So you write them down and you never lose them. You keep them safe, and if you ever wanted to pass along your crypto to someone else, those words are all they need. So it's a pretty solid solution where they can then take that, they can use our platform, they can use other platforms. So I definitely think there's definitely a simple way to kind of pass it down.
That's great.
And even we also support a multi-wallet feature. So one of my coworkers has an Arculus card set up for his son, and you can flip between the two. You can send funds into one, and they can, receive it on their end. So
really,
yeah.
Oh, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your view of what's happening in the industry. Largely, what do you think needs to happen to accelerate the corporate adoption of these various Web3 technologies, including crypto?
I would say probably awareness is a big thing. People need to fully understand and trust, I think, some of the parts of Web3. And then I think the adoption will become a lot easier. I think crypto is still a relatively new thing that people are trying to wrap their minds around. But I do think that solutions like ours that make it a very simple use case, a simple way to onboard, I think that's going to be huge in bringing that mass adoption.
That's great. In the next 12 to 24 months in the industry, what are you most excited about?
That's a great question. I guess I'm excited to see where it goes, like how some coins just shoot up, and any new technologies. Like I know certain staking and NFTs, and just kind of the trends of like what people start to lean towards and maybe leaning away from.
Yep. And what advice would you give corporate executives that are thinking about adopting technologies like this, looking for partners like you to help expand their business? A lot of these folks are required to have a strategy, but they don't know where to begin. What advice do you have? Yeah,
I would say definitely understanding the solutions that exist out there. Sometimes crypto's not, in the forefront of certain companies and what they are going for, but we do have also an authentication technology that we offer where there's a ton of applications. Logging into your apps, a lot of apps already have that support for passkeys on your phone. So we can take that passkey and keep it on a hardware device, keep it offline. I think that applies to so many different businesses, and thinking about incorporating things like that make your business stand apart, and have that extra level of security for your employees, your customers, everyone. I think being able to set yourself apart and using the technology that exists to really leverage the technology that exists in the world.
Well, speaking of technology, when I look at the card, I just think that this overcomes that fear about security, confidence and what have you. So you blending hardware along with the other software technology, I think is just very clever and a pretty strong value proposition for a lot of folks, which is great.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. It's the card is a form factor that people are familiar with. Everyone has one in their wallet, know. And someone once described it to me as, phones used to be something that you would use to call someone else on,
Right.
flip phone. And now your smartphone is your wallet, it's your calendar, it's your texting, it's your social media, it's everything. So that's basically what we're trying to do with smart cards, make a smart card that can do your authentication into your banking apps. It can be your crypto cold storage. It can be your actual payment card. So trying to bring a lot of those technologies and merge it into one card that can do it all.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Well, thank you. Kristen, how do we keep up with you?
Yep, so you can find us at This Is Arculus on social media, and our website is getarculus.com. And yeah.
Great.
See what
Great
we're
having
up
you
to.
today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kristen.